Hey guys, welcome and thank you for joining another episode of Hacker Hangouts. This is the fourth episode, and today we have a very special guest. So, just a quick recap: Hacker Hangouts is a show where we invite builders, hackers, founders, and they showcase their stories. They show some cool projects they're working on. They give insights, talk about future contribution opportunities, alpha, give Q&As, and yeah, so that's the format. I'm your host, Rohit or Ropats. And today we have with us Ankush. He's the creator and founder of BetterIDea and a whole suite of tools around that. So, Ankush, why don't you give us a little background about yourself, how you got into Web3 and Arweave?
Sure, thank you, Rohit. So I got into Web3 actually before I started college. I got into lots of Web3 communities on Twitter and Discord, and it was about a year ago when I found out about Arweave and started building on it until around January when Sam introduced AO to us, and ever since we have been building Better Idea, which is an online platform where developers can build out their AO processes. So yeah, that's a bit about myself.
Interesting, guys. Ankush is selling himself short here. He's an amazing dev. I want to share a quick note here about a memory I have from our Hacker House one. He came on the first like evening of the Hacker House, and he actually had built a basic MVP of an IDE for RV with support for multiple languages, and it was pretty cool. He, in fact, went on to win the Hacker House, and while like some projects have like pivoted drastically, Ankush has stuck with the IDE. Like, of course, he moved from Arweave to making it work with AO, but he stuck with the IDE and made it, I think, one of the best tools to debug and work with AO processes. So kudos, Ankush, and yeah, he's also doing a great job managing the community at Arweave India, by the way, guys. So that's super cool as well. But yeah, Ankush, why don't you give us a little overview about the main presentation for today? Talk to us about Better Idea and what APM is. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, my bad. So Better Idea initially started as just an IDE for initially for what contracts, but later it shifted to being an AO native IDE. But recently we have gone from being just an IDE into being a suite of developer tools. So this includes the IDE, a package manager for AO, and a CLI tool that will help developers manage whatever packages they want to build or publish. In and today we will be having a look at how you can use the Better Idea IDE to develop a package that will be using the Bazar profiles. Basically, it will help developers who want to use Bazaar profiles in their applications.
Hmm.
It will help them fetch the profile details such as their username, display names, the profile picture, and also the profile banner that they have set on the profile. So I'll start sharing my screen and
So while you're sharing your screen, Ankush, if you can tell our audience, this was actually a requested feature for you about the packages for Bazaar profiles. Can you share a note on why this is a requested feature, or how it can help applications in general?
yes, so in the past few months, I have, well, initially we also integrated this same Baza profiles into the IDE too. So if you go onto the homepage of the IDE, you can see that it shows my name here, right? And also the profile photo that I have. Well, this is actually being fetched from the Bazaar profile registry. And if I go over to Bazaar or any other application hosted on AO that is
Hmm.
using profiles, it will be showing the same thing, like the same common username and avatar on various individual applications. So it's kind of like a unified profile system So how I implemented this was that I got um, I got into the Bazar source code and had to figure out how to fetch these profiles. And when other hackers saw that I integrated this, they were quite curious as to how I implemented this and how they can do the same for their application. So normally I just told them that here is an AO process. You have to send this message to it, use this action, fetch that data, and you'll have your profile. But that is actually a tedious task, and involves people writing their own versions of code. So instead of recreating the wheel, why don't we just publish a common package that anyone can install on their processes and use pretty easily? So that's what we will be doing today.
Yeah, it's super cool. In fact, when Ankush told me that he's going to do a demo of this, I was super excited because it's not just a demo, but this is something that will go live after, or like in this workshop itself, that people will continue to use after. So yeah, pretty cool. You want to walk us through what you're showcasing here?
Yep. So this is just a general overview of what we will be doing today. So here is the developer, the person who will be writing any source code. Now this is a general overview for any type of package that you publish, and not just the Bazaar one that we'll be doing today. So let's assume there is some developer who is going to write some code, Lua code, that performs a specific task. And that task might also be needed by some other developer. So they would have to write their own version of it or copy and paste from this developer. So they write their code. That's the first step. Second, now that the developer knows that there are other people interested in using whatever they have built, they would be like, oh, I can publish this as a package for others to use. So they will next step would be to wrap whatever they have written inside a table, a Lua table. Once they do that, basically the source code for their package is complete. There is not much configuration needed for publishing on APM. So once they do that, they can just send a message to the APM registry using one of the CLI tools that we have developed at BetterIDEa. Once they send this message, APM registry will get the source code for the package, the README file, or whatever details that the person wants to publish along with the package. This will be pretty similar to publishing node packages if anyone has done that before. Now, once the package has been published, the end user or the developer who wants to install that package, they would just have to load up the APM client. Now, this is just a simple blueprint that interacts with the APM registry to download source codes. So once the developer installs APM client, it will send a request to the APM registry, basically just telling it that this package was published before and I want the source code for it. So APM registry will respond with all the details needed in order to load the source code for the package into their EOS process, and the um, that's how the package will be loaded by the end user. And whatever source code that that initial developer would be writing, he can use BetterIDEa for that. It actually makes things a bit easier. But if not, they are free to use any other tool that they want. They just need to be able to use the APM CLI that we have. So I hope this is pretty much clear. It's simple stuff. So let's get started building. You can just open the BetterIDEa IDE and connect your wallet. Then from the left hand side, I'll create a new project. I'll name this Bazar package. And I'll actually use the regular Lua files instead of the notebooks because it's a bit easier for publishing packages if I use a regular file instead of a notebook. This should take a bit of a time depending on the network.
Yeah, that's all right. But thank you for like walking us through the user journey. I think it's super helpful to just visualize what the steps in the process are. It helps create this mind map that people can follow along much easier. So yeah, that was super cool.
Thank you. Also, just a note here: if your IDE gets stuck at loading or creating the project, it could be possible due to network issues, because I have noticed that in my university Wi-Fi, it usually fails to do anything on AO, so I have to use my personal mobile internet to do anything with AO. So that could be one of the issues if things seem to be stuck. Okay, so
Yeah, and then of course there's what Patrick said, Murphy's law of devilness. So like anytime you're presenting, anything that could go wrong will always go wrong. But it's fine. We figure our way out. Like right now.
yep, true. Yeah, so as you can see, the process has been created and we are able to run code now. So let's get building. Now there are some things that that kind of need to be hard coded. The first one is the of course the Bazar profile registry, which is basically just a process that keeps track of all the different Bazaar profiles and the wallets that the profiles are connected to. So I'll copy this profile address and paste it in this file. I'll name it Bazaar profiles. It's a string. Next, I need to interact with this process. So I'll send a message. I'll use the send function. Inside the target, I'll send the message to Bazaar profiles. The action would be now this also needs to be hard coded because it is a defined action by the Bazaar process. So whenever it receives a message with an action called get profiles by delegate, it knows that the sender is requesting for some profile details. It checks the address and returns the profile ID for that particular wallet address. And to send the wallet address, I'll send it inside the data. So just write data equals to open a table, type in address equals to there should be a string, and the value for the string would be the wallet address. So in order to get a wall, let's use the owner for this process that we have created. So you can just get that using the owner variable right here. As you can see, it gave me my wallet address. I'll just use owner here instead of pasting some address manually. Now, one thing that is very common among developers that they forget to actually convert this table into a string, because whenever you are sending a message, all the tags or the data they need to be encoded into a string in order to be properly executed. So we will use a built-in function called JSON. I'll import it using JSON equals to require JSON, and here below I'll just type JSON dot encode and wrap this table inside this function. I can show you a demonstration of how this works in a different file. I'll just name it test.lua. I'll import the same, I'll just copy paste the same stuff here and remove Bazaar profiles and the send function. And I just return the string value of whatever this is encoded. If I run this, it gives me this JSON encoded string of my address as the key and value pair. So that's how it works. Okay, so once we send this message, let's try running this. And as you can see, we have got a couple of messages. So it's stuck in a loop. Anyways, so if I check my inbox, I have received this message from the Bazar profile registry. And in the data, if you have a look at the data, it contains a string, a JSON encoded string for various details, and one of them is the profile ID. So now we need some way to get this data instantly after we say send the message. So this is one of the new features of AOS 2, which is the receive function. Now this is something similar to async and await if you have used JavaScript. So whenever a message is sent, it is possible that the process that you have sent the message to, they will give a reply to your message. And until now, you had to set up handlers in order to process incoming messages. But ever since AOS 2 was released, we have got a new function called receive, which will basically do something similar, and it will fetch the incoming message that was replied from replied from the process you send a message to. I'll store it in a variable. I'll call it local response one equals to receive. And inside receive, you have to pass in some parameters. One of them is action. I'll put the value for action to the action for this message that we got in reply. So I'll copy profile success and paste that here. Now, what this does is whenever we call the receive function, it will know that it should look for a message that has a specific action inside it, and that action should be profile success. So if we print response one, we should get this message that we got earlier in inbox. So I'll run it, open the terminal, and wait for the message. And as you can see, it printed the whole message here.
So this receive function basically like abstracts away a lot of the variables that the handlers had. So the action where you're defining profile success, that's similar to like the pattern matching we did in handlers, but like we can directly use the data inside any function.
Yep. Now we are not interested in most of the things that was returned by this. We only want the data. So we do response one dot data. Let's see what that prints. And we have a string over here. Okay, let's try refreshing the IDE. I hope it does not put things in a loop again. Okay. Yeah. Now we are getting things only once. Nice. All right. So since this is a string and Lua does not directly support strings, that's why we used this JSON package here. Now we will use the same package with string data and just run json.decode. So it is the opposite for encode. What encode does is it takes a table, converts it into a JSON string. What decode does is it takes a JSON string and converts it back to a Lua table. Let's try that.
So encode is like the equivalent of stringify, and decode is like parsing.
Yep, exactly. So we have got three things here. One is the profile ID, a role, and the caller address. Caller address is basically the source of the initial message that we sent, and profile ID is the process ID for your Bazaar profile. So if I copy the profile ID, go to bazaar.arweave.net/profile, and based in that ID, I should get my own profile over here. And there we go.
Pretty cool.
It, yeah. So now that we have got the ID for the profile, we actually have to send another message in order to get the details such as the username, display name, and profile picture. So let's comment the print function and send another message. Now this time we will send it to this profile address right here. So we can do res1 dot actually res1 the index one, like the first element of this table, one because Lua starts indexing at one for some reason. Dot profile ID. Okay, instead of sending in the message, let's just try printing the profile ID first, just to make sure there are no bugs later on.
Yeah, not like we're deploying a package live here.
Mhm. Okay, so it failed. It printed an empty string. Wow.
Don't you need to decode this before trying to fetch the first param?
Yep. Right. So res1 is actually a string, so we need to decode it. Good cat. Hmm. Oh, it should be res1 dot data. Awesome. We have got the ID. Thank you, Rohit.
Yep, guys, this is a lesson for everyone. Decoding is a live process. Don't hesitate or like bother. This happens.
Yep. So we'll store the profile ID into a variable, and now we can call the send function. I'll send it to the profile ID with the action as info. Now, info is a pretty common action in most of the AO processes, because if you have a look at the source code for the token blueprint, which is used to define, I guess, the ERC20 equivalent contract on AO, you have the info handler in those processes to basically get all the details for a particular token, like its total supply, the token name, and whatnot. And it is the same for profile. We use the info handler to fetch all of the different details about the particular profile. So let's run this, and hopefully we get something useful in the response. Nice. We have a read success message over here. And in inbox, we have a message with something in the data. Let's use the same receive function again, but this time we name it response to and change the action to read success. And we print it.
So in the previous step, you were calling the action info from the profile ID. This means I'm assuming that every profile has a dedicated process.
Yep. Every profile that you see on Bazar, it is a process. Okay, we have the data over here. Let's just print the data. Now, the same case as before, this is all a string. So we need to decode it back into a table in order to extract anything useful. So I'll just run JSON dot decode again, and this time it prints a table. This also has various other details like the different assets that my profile owns, whatever collection that it owns. And in the end, we can see that it has an entry for profile. Now, this is what we are looking for. So I'll do the decode dot profile. This will get Now this will get rid of all the unnecessary details and just print the profile stuff. So that's what we want. I'll copy this, store it in a variable, and print that variable. Nice. So that's how you fetch the display, the usernames and the profile pictures of different Bazaar profiles. Now that this part has been done, feel free to ask any questions right now if there are any questions before we move on to converting this into a package and publishing it to the APM registry.
Yeah, thanks for the note there, Ankush. Guys, if you have any questions, drop it in the chat of this stage, and then we can touch on them either now or in the dedicated Q&A session later on. I think we can start with the package. I don't see anyone typing. Plus, I'm super excited to see the deployment part.
Sweet. Let's do it. So, in order to publish this into a package, we have to bind all of this code into a single unit. Now, that single unit is essentially just a simple function that takes in the address as the input and returns this profile variable as its output. Let's just write uh, function get profile address as the input, and I'll indent all of this and end the function right here. And instead of printing the profile, I will just return the profile. Also, in place of the owner that we used earlier, we will pass the address input. So that should be it. And let's try running this function. Local e equals get profile. I'll pass owner here and then print p. And it works. Nice.
Let's go.
So now the important part, to convert this function into a package, all you need to do is define a local variable m. Why m? Because as far as I understand, it is a common naming that's given to various Lua packages. So you have a table called m and you change your function name to have m dot in the beginning. So what this denotes is the get profile function is a part of the table called m. So that's it. And in the end, just return m. Also, one more thing we can do is we can also you can also put the Bazar profiles process the string inside m instead of having it outside. So we will also just do m dot Bazar profiles. Now, if we run it, we have a table in the output with the get profile function and the Bazar profiles string.
So, a
So
quick
that's
question here. Um, do we not need to add the JSON import inside? How does that work?
Note that we don't have to add the JSON because when this gets bundled and basically compiled, I think it knows that we are using specifically the JSON encode function. So it, like, if you check the output, it has this string, it has this function object thing here along with the address for that function.
Hmm.
So whenever this gets compiled, it replaces this JSON.decode into whatever the internal functions for the decode function is. So you don't really need to put this JSON inside the package itself. Also, another reason because it is a global package available in AO and Lua.
Okay, yeah, I think that makes sense.
Sweet. So let's move on. Now the source code for the package is done. This is all you need actually. So, let's write a README file. I'll just make readme.md. I'll name it Bazar profiles. I'll just leave it like this right now. Okay. So next we have a CLI tool that you can try to publish. Uh, yeah. Okay, so this is a CLI tool that we developed. It can be used to initialize new packages, register a vendor that you want, publish or update any packages that you own. And you can install it to use it, but I recommend using the npx command because it fetches whatever the latest version of the tool is there. Before we install this tool, I'll show you the APM registry. This is available at apm.betteridea.dev. Here you can see a list of all the various packages that have been previously published. Here you can see the dbadmin, one of the most popular packages on APM, published by Tom. Then we have Llama Herder, APM itself, and Reality API, and a couple of stuff. Okay, so
So
there's
we'll have
actually a,
this package as well in the top ones.
yep. There's actually a guide too if you want to follow this, but this is actually the same thing that we'll be doing right now. I'll shift to my terminal. Okay, before we shift to the terminal, let's download this code that we wrote here. So just go to project, download zip. We have this zip file over here. Let me change my screen. So now you should be able to see the entire screen.
Yep.
I have this zip. If I unzip it, I get a folder with both of these files existing here. If I go to the terminal, downloads, what's the file name? Bazar. These are the files. Now I'll just run npm hyphen y apm tool at the rate latest. This will fetch whatever the latest version of the APM tool that exists. Let's create a boilerplate for the package in the CLI. I will name the package, let's name it Bazar. I will use the vendor on my own name, which is Ankush.
So
Describe the
vendors
package.
are basically like package creators.
Yeah, this is pretty similar to npm init. Like it creates package npm init creates the package.json, which contains details about your project. This creates apm.json, which contains details about the AO package. Keywords AO, Bazar. Okay, we don't have a repository yet, so I'll leave that blank, license MIT. And if that's the contents for the APM JSON that we will be. Okay, I won't create a wallet right now. So now if you look into we have a new folder here called Bazar, which contains these three things: the README file, apm.json file, which contains the details that we saw earlier, and the source.lua file, which should have the source code for our package. Now, since we already have the source code for our package and the README file, I will just move those into the folder. Okay, so I've replaced the empty source code and README files with the ones that we downloaded from BetterIDEa. Great. Now, if we try running npm publish, it would give us an error. Oh, wait, no. npx apm tool latest publish. It gives us an error that repository not found in apm.json. So we need to have a repository URL to. I'll just put in something right now for now. Let's try publishing again. And it bundles the JSON wallet address. Okay. So whenever you are publishing a package, it actually needs to have a wallet file to identify who is the publisher of the package and also to be able to send a message to the APM registry file. Now, we did not create a wallet file earlier because I wanted to use the JWK for my AR Connect extension. So I will cancel this and copy my JWK key file into this folder. So now that I have a wallet.json file, I can edit apm.json. Here you should find, just add an entry called wallet, set it to dot slash wallet.json. What this does is it just tells the APM tool that what wallet it should use to publish the package and to send the message to the registry. Let's try running the publish function again, bundling the source code, and here we go. It says package published along with a link to AO link just for debugging purposes.
Awesome.
Why it says message dot not. Oh, interesting. Okay, there we go. We have the message here. Let's try running. So in data, what we have is the source code, the bundled source code actually, and also the README, both encoded in strings and sent over to the APM registry process, which you can see right here. Like this is the ID for APM. We have different tags. We have the vendor name as Ankush, the repository URL, and all the different data necessary for packages. So if we try going into the APM registry here and search Bazar, we have our package published. Let's go.
Let's go, guys. We have deployed an actual utility package in chat. Drop some emojis in chat for Ankush.
Yay. Sweet. Now, since this package has been published, let's try installing it on one of the processes. I'll close this project and let's just use some project that we created earlier.
Ooh, better idea has graphs.
Yes, it does. Okay, so we have this project here. Now, there are actually two ways to install packages in the IDE. One, the obvious way is to use the packages sidebar. I can search Bazar over here. We have our package here too, and just click install. Another way is to load the APM blueprint, which is the this client, the APM client that we saw earlier. That is the blueprint. So if you go to projects, load blueprint, there is an option for APM inside that. Once you click on it, it shows the source code for the APM client that helps processes interact with the APM registry processes in order to download a package. So we can just run dot load blueprint APM. Once it is loaded, one thing I recommend always doing is APM dot update because it fetches whatever the latest version of the package manager there is. Because since it is frequently updated, there could be various new versions all the time.
Nice.
Now to install the package that we published, I'll do apm dot install. Then you need to pass the vendor name and the package name. So vendor was at the rate Ankush slash Bazar. Hopefully this works.
Moment of truth.
Yep. So we have a message downloaded the Bazar package. Sweet. Now let's try importing the package. I'll do local Bazar equals to require, then the same string at the return push slash Bazar. Then I'll just return whatever we have imported. And there we go. We have the function for
Nice.
Bazar. Let's try running the get profile function. This time also I'll pass in the owner because owner has the value for my wallet address. Let's try running this. Ooh, what's this? Interesting. This is something new. Hmm, let's try printing it. All right. It's possible that there is a mismatch for iOS version. Probably this one does not have the receive function, I guess.
Oh,
Let's just try a new project. While this is getting created, I'll share another method for publishing packages because oftentimes people are paranoid. So they don't really want to download the JWK and store it in the same folder as their source code because we are humans. We can git include the wallet file and push it to GitHub and we will lose everything possibly. So instead of doing that, there is something we can do, which is npm use the same APM tool and just run bundle instead of publish. What this does is it creates another folder called dist, which you can just drag and drop on the publish package tab in apm.betteridea.dev. So let's try doing that. So we have the dist file with the source code. We drag and drop it over here and we get all the information about it. We have the package name, its version, description, repository, keywords, and whatnot. We hit publish and it gives us an error because the version 1.0.0 of this package has already been published. So we will just edit the APM JSON, increment the version. I just changed it to 1.0.0 to 1.0.1 and we run the bundle command again. It's rebundled and let's refresh, go back to the page, dropped it again, and now it shows 1.0.1 instead of 1.0.0. Hit publish and it says package published successfully. Also redirects us to the package page. If you look into version history, it shows us that we had a previous version called 1.0.0, which had one install because I installed it. Then we have the latest version of the package over here. Okay, so yeah, is this the project that I created? Well,
Yeah, I think so.
okay. Yep, it's that one. All right, cool. So let's try installing it again. I'll do dot load blueprint APM. It loads the client. I'll do APM dot update. It gets updated. Now I'll do APM dot install at the rate Ankush slash Bazar. Download requested and it got downloaded. I'll do it to the import again. Local Bazar equals to require Ankush slash Bazar and return. We have the function. Uh, let's make it a global variable and create a new cell. We'll run the get profile function here and pass in owner and print it. Okay, interesting. No target specific. Interesting.
Oh, they were getting that.
It could be possible that Bazar profile. Okay.
Maybe the Bazaar profiles process is not up to date with AOS 2.0, and that's why, like you mentioned, there's a mismatch.
Well, then it should not work in this one too, right?
Ah, interesting.
Let's just try hard coding the Bazar profile address instead of having a different variable for it.
Interesting.
So we can do this in this local source code as well. And source to instead of the Bazar profile variable, we just paste the process ID as a string. Let's bundle it again. So we actually had to increment, we have to increment the value for version again. But instead of editing the APM JSON, we have another way to do that. So just run the APM tool patch command. What patch does is it increments the last digit of the version on its own. So you don't have to edit any file manually. Now I'll bundle it again. Go back to the web UI, drag drop the test folder again, and hit publish. It's published. And if you look into the source code, we can see that the target has been hard coded now. So instead of let's install again
No, that's a different. Yeah.
apm dot install Ankush, Bazar. Ooh, it says package already installed. Wow.
Ah, nice. We're seeing hacks here.
Yep. Okay, so it installed the latest version. Now, if anybody wants to contribute a PR to fix the updating part, feel free to do so.
Ankush is hosting a bounty, guys.
Bounty Alpha, let's go. Anyways, it's imported again. And this time we just have the get profile function. It worked. Let's
Oh,
go.
nice. There we go. This is awesome. Also,
Yep.
I love a nice debugging session live, so super cool.
Yep. Nice. So the package has been published. We had a look at two different ways that packages can be published. One was from the CLI itself. Another one was from the web UI by bundling the package and uploading the bundled folder. We had a look at how to convert regular code into a function and the function into a package. Then we downloaded that and basically uploaded it into APM.
Yeah, it's super cool. I think it's like all of the details that you showed, even like the little ones, it just shows like how much thought has gone into like building this whole suite of tools. It's really awesome, I would say. And like the UI UX of it is also something that's very nice to look at and interact with. So yeah, I would say kudos on that. So guys, again, like if you have any questions throughout this process or anything, you can drop in the chat. But Ankush, there's some other questions that we do. Of course, you've seen them. One of my favorite ones is insights, founder insights. You've been a founder for a while now, so can you share some insights from your journey that can help founders in this session here?
Yeah, well, ever since I started building Better Idea, I've got to learn quite a lot. Like it helped me go from having a student mentality into having a founder mentality, I would say. And for all the different founders out there, I'll just say that um, I, is it is this SFW, or I can use the F word.
No, go for it.
Just fuck around and find out about different things.
Yeah, that's solid advice, I would say. So you mentioned like you've gone from student mentality to founder mentality. So I just want you to touch a little on what that exactly means, or what that meant for you personally. Like what was the change, or what did you acquire in the process that made you feel as such?
Well, so initially, Better Idea, of course, started out as a project. During the Hacker House, when Better Idea was initially developed, I used to go to all the different participants and tell them that, hey, I'm building this IDE that might help you in developing things. So in the Hacker House itself, I got like 4 or 5 users there itself. And after the Hacker House, it kept on growing more and more. We got into collaborations with various different products and services. Many of them are from the second cohort itself. Like a lot of them are from the second cohort, to be honest. So yeah, just go out and interact with people. You actually get to learn a lot by just talking with other founders, interacting with them, checking out what products they have, insights from their side. So yeah, just be a bit more social, I would say. That helps a lot. Be more collaborative. Like if I'm brutally honest, I received an email from Time recently. Like Time is a VS Code extension that tracks how many hours you code each day. And I recently got a mail from him. I get a mail from him every week about whatever different projects I worked on, like the analysis for that. And for this week, it just said I coded for just 4 hours the entire week. Like previously, it went up to 24 hours, 30 hours per week, maybe sometimes even more. But recently, the coding time went a bit downhill because instead of writing code, I was kind of busy, just collaborating with others, getting in touch with other founders, getting to know about their product and how we could mutually benefit each other. Also, of course, organizing and managing some stuff for Arweave India. Yeah, so that's a part of the learning process. Like, yeah, there is a world outside of coding. That's the gist of it.
Yeah, definitely. So just a personal note, like the first time I met Ankush in the Hacker House, he was very quiet. Like he barely spoke, and even after that, like after the Hacker House ended, he was part of the launch pad, and he was still fairly quiet. but I think over the months I've seen him turn into like a more social person, which is super cool to see and a super cool skill to pick up. I think as a founder, like it's really important to do outreach for your own projects. So yeah, and it's been like really great to watch his journey and like all of the journeys that we've seen out of Arweave India. So yeah, that's really awesome. So Ankush, do you want to give us any alpha or any insights into the future roadmap of Better Idea or its tools, and anything that's upcoming for you all?
Yeah, an alpha, a very early alpha, I would say. We have been trying to build this kind of like a visual representation of AO, like for building processes, right? Right now, we just write Lua code, and only developers would be able to write Lua code to get AO processes interacting. And even developers get really tired debugging it. So it's pretty troublesome. But we have something in ideation right now, and that's a visual, like a visual programming tool for AO. So there would be various blocks for different things, and you can just connect them around and it would work. So that's something really cool for non-developers.
That is actually quite interesting. I think there was this tool for Next.js that used to do something like that, but instead of just moving around those blocks, it was just more of a summary of your code. But like to actually like be able to move around the blocks and just like pass in some basic inputs, and then your code comes out for you. That would be something super exciting to see. So I would say great alpha there. Anything else? Any way people can contribute to Better Idea or any upcoming opportunities?
Yeah, there is one running starting just a day. It's just a day to go. Like Permahacks is starting, and Better Idea has a bounty over there. Two bounties actually. One is that so when you write Lua code, if you are an avid VS Code developer, like if you commonly use VS Code for building stuff, you would probably also use the GitHub Copilot extension that comes along with it. It just provides an AI autocomplete using the GitHub APIs. Now, the bounty for permahacks is that you have to integrate a similar tool for for the web IDE using either on-chain LLMs that AO provides, or you can also use like GitHub Copilot or Google Gemini if according to your comfortability. And we actually have a pretty basic implementation of this already there in Better Idea. So you are free to build on top of that and submit your bounty. The second bounty is for non-technical people. Well, non-technical people who know a bit about tech, to be honest. You just have to write a Twitter thread highlighting all the use cases of Better Idea, like what would be the best way to use Better Idea. Write a Twitter thread about it, and there is actually a prize pool of 20 AR for the thread and 1500 US dollars for the AI autocomplete one.
Oh, nice money bags. But yeah, I'm actually super excited to see how that comes along. I think having like an AI auto completion tool in Better Idea would be super cool, because yeah, Lua is a bit of a learning curve. So Ankush, if people want to get in touch with you for these bounties, or just otherwise for Better Idea feedback or anything else, of course, yeah, you're very active in the Arweave India Discord. But is that your preferred way to reach out, or what would you suggest? And we'll also like be creating this forum there specifically for this Hacker Hangout. So yeah, what would you suggest is the best way to reach out to you?
Like everyone is free to reach out to me on whatever platform that they want. Could be Twitter, Instagram, Discord, maybe through email, or maybe a GitHub issue. Like I see one of the participants here, XUNDAN91, like Kundan.
Hmm.
They were one of the early contributors on the GitHub repository. Like they contributed a couple of bug fixes, and I was actually surprised to get the issues that he created. And later on, I forgot to know that he's actually from my university. That's something
Oh,
pretty cool to know.
interesting.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
Ankush.
to me anywhere you want. It could be Arweave India Discord, the Better Idea Discord, or Twitter or Instagram.
Okay, perfect. Wow. Guys, DM Ankush on Instagram specifically for better idea feedback and doubts. Uh, Exclusively on Instagram, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, guys, any questions? We'll take a pause for a couple of seconds here. If you guys have any questions, if not, we'll move over to the common voice chat and then we can hang out for a bit. Going once, going twice. Okay, I think our audience, or rather our guests, do a very good job of explaining what they're demoing. So we do not have any questions, and that's super cool. Guys, thank you so much for joining this session. Quick alpha before we take off. Tomorrow, Arweave India is going to host a boot camp. What is a boot camp? A boot camp is basically a workshop that Arweave India does before its signature Hacker House series, and it's meant to bring you up to speed on development and design. So tomorrow's will be a 101 session about building on Arweave, AO. We'll see a little about BetterIDea, but we'll see a bunch of other things as well. And it's open for everyone. So yes, if you or your friends would like to join, more than welcome. We'll host it in the Gather Town, and I think we should make an announcement about it soon if we've not already made that. But yeah, that was the alpha. Boot camps are super cool. They're like packed with a lot of information, and hopefully I'll see you all tomorrow and then in next week's Hacker Hangout. Once again, thank you so much, you guys, for joining. Ankush, thank you so much for this awesome session. Love the live deployment, and love that we got it to work as well finally. Yeah, and thank you guys. I'll see you all next week. Bye.